Stitches of love we weave so. In this online world we come to grow. Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, where hearts align. Let's embrace the craft and let our souls shine.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop studio. This is Weekend Project. We're making a cute tote out of the project we did last weekend, which was make a mini jelly roll. So I turned this one into a tote bag for my sister-in-law. It was her birthday the weekend before, so I thought it would be kind of cool to make her something neat. And this was a panel that actually got some stuff on it, so I ended up having to cut some of it off. Don't know what that was. So we're gonna make that super easy in just a few steps, okay? And it does have 2 pockets in there. So we have our mini jelly roll from last weekend, okay? And then what I have here is some heavyweight, or you can use medium weight stabilizer, or you can use the heat and bond with the foam, whatever makes you happy. You don't even have to use that. You could use, make it denim material or something on the inside that you don't like, maybe some ugly material to give it that stability you might be looking for. Or you can just leave it without and it's just really flexible, okay? And then what you want to do is you want to layer that with some batting and then your stabilizer. I did have to like Frankenstein mine patch there, okay, but that's okay. It happens. It's all going to be hidden anyways. And then you just want to do some basic quilting or some fancy quilting. I did on each line going across, and then I just did a base stitch all the way around the outside. And of course that's going to take some time. And I used my favorite stitch here, so like it looks like a little bit of a heartbeat, and then it went all the way around, and then I just did like a little baste on the outside edge for when trimming up, it's not all floppy like this little section right here, okay? So there we go. Move those little bits off to the side. So, and then we have a lining piece, the same size as our outer piece, and mine ended up being about 29 by 21 in the end, just on the average. But if you wanted your tote to be a little bit taller, you're going to make it a bit longer. If you wanted it a little bit wider, you make it a little bit wider that way. So and then you just build it out. So once we have our lining and our pockets all placed out where we want them, so what I did is I took a strip of the width of fabric, the width of what I needed for my bag, and then I cut the length of it. And then what was left over, I made 2 pockets with. So it was absolutely 0 waste on that meter of material, that length of the width of the fabric material, because it was only 21 inches when I cut it. So, and then what you do is you sew around, leave a little space around on the underside, and then flip it all out. And then when you place your pockets down on your lining, you're going to make sure that that open section there is actually aimed towards the bottom. Somebody wants to keep sneaking outside. Okay, and then you can line up with your ruler, whether you want it, I like about 4 to 5 inches below the top of the line here to work my way down, and then just even spacing from the left and to the right, and then you just pin your pockets and then just do a little stitch, stitch, and stitch, okay? So there we have our insides and our outside. Okay, once that's all there, hold on, let's just fold that there so you can see what I got going on here. So this is all quilted, and then I've got my lining right here with my pockets. So my pockets have been attached. Oops, forgot a pin. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to fold these, the lining and the outside in half. Okay, so you're just going to fold it in half. And then in the lower corners where the fold is, you're going to come up with your ruler and come and take out 2 inches. 2 inches is going to give you about a 3.5 inch-ish bottom of your bag. So if you want it a little bit wider, make it about 2.5 inches, okay? That's up to you. This is where the flexibility of the tote comes all in you, whether your height, width, or how big you want your bottom. So now that you have that all set up, we're going to do a little straight stitch straight down the side to where the mark is, okay? And we can actually clip those out on both the lining as well as the tote outers. Okay, so let's do that. Let's fold it in half. And then we're going to take our 2 inches out of the corner. So make sure everything's nicely folded. And you got a nice good little position there. Take your little ruler. And we're going to line it up. Make sure I have the inches here. There we go. Okay, so there. So I'm on the 2, and 2 inches in, so that's 1 inch, and that's 1 inch right there. So I'm on the fold with the 2 and on the edge with the 2. And I'm just going to draw a little pencil line, just like that, in both corners. So you're not having any shifting as you do your trimming. Just pop in a couple of clips. Clips are great for this, as well as a walking foot on your machine. Makes the process a lot easier. So I'm just making sure with my finger, I'm kind of just making it sure it's nice and it's folding and not actually putting like a little pleat in the corner there. Okay, so here we are with the bottom edge on the 2. You can see that there, bottom edge on the 2, and then on the side as well as the 2. Okay. And then just like that, we'll put a little clip here, and we're going to clip this out. Okay, so snip on that line, and snip on that line, okay, like that, and then like this. And you can keep those for something, recycle them into something. I'm not sure what. I have a lot of corners from making bags, let me tell you. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think you could ever have too many bags. You know what I mean? See, I'm not a Gucci kind of girl, but I certainly will make me a tote bag any day of the week. Okay, so now you have those tucked out, or snipped out, my goodness. And then you're just going to do a straight line on both sides of the lining as well as the front, okay? The front and the back with the right sides together. Okay, and I got a straight stitch and a 2.4, and I'm just using gray Aurifil thread. I'm using Jamie today. She is a Memory Craft 6700P. She is a workhorse machine, and I love her. Now, on one of these sides for your lining, you're going to want to give yourself just a little bit of space to turn this bag all the way right side out. Okay? So come down like a smidgy widge, do a little back stitch, pop your needle up. There's no need to cut your threads, not a big deal. And then scoot down just enough that you know you're going to be able to have enough room to turn this bag right side out. Do a little back stitch, and then keep on trucking to the end. Okay, and now we're going to do that to the outer part. Oh my God. Of course, this is a little bit thicker because we have the material, the batting, and the stabilizer. Okay, this is where I love having my walking foot. Both sides. Do a little flip. Make sure your tops are lined up. Got a little bit off there, but that's okay. Oops. Back stitch. Okay, so once we have those, tighten up, trim the threads there and there, and now what you're going to want to do is you're going to take that part that you've cut out and put them together, the fold to the seam. Okay, so where that fold was on your fabric, you're going to pop it towards the seam. Make sure it's nice and even on both sides. Again, these clips are so handy dandy for these sorts of things. Okay, so you're going to do that to both sides of the bottom, on the lining and the top, or the outside. Now, I don't know about you, but I find the littler clips, like these little guys, are a little bit easier to use than those ones. I'm not sure if just because I don't know, whatever. But I find them just a little bit easier. Okay, so make sure we got no pins in here. We have our little gap in our lining, which is excellent. Again, we're twisting, we're pushing the fold towards the seam. Okay, there and there. So while we do the next sets of stitches, we should line up our handles too. I probably should have done that before I did the other one. That's okay. Okay, so in the handles here, okay, on the end, as I came in about 5 inches from each side and then put a little mark, and you can see that where I've laid that there. And then I go and I take my strap, make sure it's nice and straight, and line it up and put it right on top with a nice clip. Again, making sure it's nice and straight. You can always double trickle check. Everything's all right. And then stitch those handles in first, nice and straight. Make sure they're all lined up, okay? You don't want an angle to your strap. Now, yes, of course, you probably would have done this first, but, you know. It was hot and I was excited to show you. So. Okay, now here. All right, now we're going to stitch those handles, okay? Real quick. Make sure they line up to the edge. Now you can have the edges of these exposed nylon handles if you wanted to, but just make sure you take a lighter to secure like the thread, the ends, the frayed ends. Okay, and then on the other side. So this handle gets enclosed between the front and the back, but there's many different ways if you wanted to work it. This is just a super easy tote with just a few bit of pieces and you're done. The last bag I made for my sister-in-law was the hexagon blue beach bag. And I think that was, I'm gonna say 2017, but I could be wrong. So that's a long time ago. So I'm hoping she likes the purple one. Now we're just going to seal up on both of the end corners here to give our bottom of our bag some structure. A little back stitch. Do that on the lining and the out. On the other corner. And then we just put the right sides together and sew all the way around. Okay, because we do have that little space on the side, there he is, to turn right side out. So we're going to flip this out this way, because it is the right side. We've got some lovely pockets here. Okay. And I did a little top stitching across the top of the pocket as well, just get a little structure. Now we take this one and we plop it in here. We line up our side seams. Those are the first things that we're going to line up. You can split the seam of your tote to left and to right. If it's got some thickness you may be worried about. Okay. Come over here and make sure that your lining fits inside your outer. Now this, yeah, it looks good. I was gonna say, if it was, your lining was just slightly a little bit bigger, just come in on the seam allowance, just like a thread or two, and then just come on straight down, right? That's all you would need. And clip here. And then once you sew all the way around, oops, I keep whacking my sewing machine. Poor Jeannie. Okay, and then all the way around, seal it up, okay? Sometimes some machines have like a little slide plate out for doing hemming of pants and stuff like that. It's great and handy. Fortunately, this machine does not have that. And I gave myself a nice 1/2 inch. So I'm enclosing where I have stitched the handle down, nice and straight, as well as giving a little bit of structure. So it's getting really windy here. can customize it to how many pockets you need. You need a deep one to go all the way down to the bottom, maybe to hold a water bottle or something, or you know, whatever. You know, so you can customize the little tote for whatever you may need. Could be a makeshift sort of diaper bag. Okay, now we turn everything out through that little hole that we left. First, make sure we got everybody in. It looks good. Yes, okay. So now we're going to take that little hole here that we have in our lining and reach in with our hand. Try and make it a hand's width, right? So, and then we're going to take and grab the farthest corner, or the bottom. It's not really a corner anymore now, is it? And then pop it on through. Okay, this may take a moment, but be patient with yourself. Just kind of turn it and pull it. Push back and pull all at the same time. In no time at all, you have birthed yourself a bag. Pop your little corners out in the bottom of your tote because you want that to be nice and precise. You did such a good job on it. Let's show it off. Poke your corners out. And then tuck your lining in. Now you can hand stitch that little opening closed, or you can zip it with machine. It's totally up to you. Your little corners in there, and now you can top stitch. Now if you wanted to, you could leave it with that little decorative so you can see the lining and it looks pretty, and you just stitch it all the way along. And then what I would do is I would probably flip that to the handle and then maybe do another top stitch on top. But I'm going to roll it because they are the same size. I'm just going to roll it down so it's nice and even, and then we're just going to put some clips and then just top stitch all the way around. Okay. Oh my gosh, isn't that just the cutest? Oh, neato. And what a way to use up a panel or some fabric that you just may not have used. You don't like something, chop it up, add it with an extra, you know, complimentary fabric, and you got yourself a cute little tote and no wasted fabric. No wasted fabric at all. Look at those. Cute. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to work on something. We're always working on something. Take care. We'll see you soon.